Greetings, divers. Today, Arrowhead dropped an interesting content bundle into the Superstore. For the first time ever, we actually have a primary weapon available for purchase, outside of a Warbond. Now, just recently with the Illuminate update, they did put some secondary melee weapons available for purchase, but this is the first time that you've been able to buy a rifle, a primary weapon from the Superstore. Now, alongside this, you have a usual armor set, emblem, banner, and cape, but the topic of today's video will be this weapon, because that's where most of the discussion is going to be centered around. So, I want to come out and say, first and foremost, I bought it so that you don't have to. Now, that doesn't mean you can't. Obviously, you can do whatever the heck you want. But I wanted to see if this was worth the 615 credits that they're asking. And that's roughly like $6, right? So, first and foremost, I think that price is too high no matter the weapon. If this was the best weapon in the game, I would say please don't sell it for $6. So I don't like the pricing model that they're doing here, but that's sort of a separate point in this discussion. So I did some testing. This is a map with Illuminate, as you can tell, and the weapon is okay. It's decent. It's nothing to write home about. It's nothing that's gonna, steal the show. It's certainly not OP in any way. The best way I could describe it is a slightly better Liberator carbine. It has about 11 more rounds in the magazine. It fires a little bit slower, I believe, and it does just a tick more damage. But the reload time is actually not very good. It is a slower reload for the capacity and damage it offers. It's not bad, it's just a slight trade-off. I'm not sure there's a strong reason to use this weapon over a standard Liberator. That being said, it's fun to use, it looks cool, it has a very distinct look. It definitely looks like it's from the Killzone universe, which is what it is. This is a crossover, so if you like Killzone, you're going to be interested in this bundle. That being said, I don't think it's worth $6. I don't think it's worth 600 credits. It is an okay rifle. There's nothing that stands out about it in any particular way. It's decent, and that's all I can really say. It's like a slightly faster firing Liberator with a little bit more ammo in each mag, but it reloads slower. So it's a small trade-off for a little bit of ammo and a little bit of a faster fire rate. So it's a very minor change. It's nothing that's going to blow you away, but I don't think it's worth $6. That's my personal opinion. You can do what you want to do. If you think it looks cool, if you want to rock it just for the aesthetic, whatever. But my personal opinion, don't feel like you're missing out if you don't want to purchase this gun. So moving on to the second point of the discussion here, which is the monetization policy that Arrowhead is sort of implementing, or at least testing. And that is, again, this is the first time that they have sold a primary weapon in the Superstore. So this is a new thing, and the community is obviously reacting to this a little bit hesitantly. If you've been on Reddit at all, I know, Reddit can be an echo chamber, but if you've been on there at all, there's definitely some discontent among the community. Even on the Discord, it's not just Reddit. Pretty much any place you've been in online in a Helldiver community, there's been some confusion, frustration, little uncertainty as to where Arrowhead's going to take this. So I'm hoping for some better communication. I'm hoping for Arrowhead to come out and say, look, we're just testing something out. This is just a crossover event. Now, they have already said something to that effect on Discord, but I think people are skeptical, and rightfully so. I mean, this is not the first time a company has done something like this, and it certainly won't be the last. And I think there is a lot of goodwill between the community and Arrowhead, or at least what is left of that goodwill. And I think people are worried that this could be taken too far, that we could start selling stratagems, that we could start selling weapons separately from Warbonds, and pricing them more exorbitantly than they already are in the Warbond. Now, I think the Warbond for $10 is already a little bit of a steep price, but I think most of us are happy to pay that to support the game, and I think for the amount of content you get, it's certainly not bad. It's a decent bargain. This isn't about Warbonds. But if you total up the total cost of each item in this bundle, by the way, this is, I believe, part 1 of a 2-part bundle. They're going to release a second part with a sniper rifle, probably some other cosmetics. In fact, I know of another cosmetic set. It's already been leaked. There may be a 3-part bundle, to be honest, because there's also a SMG that is coming that's been leaked. So I don't know if there's going to be a 3rd armor set or if they're going to bundle in the SMG with the sniper, but all I know is there's another armor set coming and there's an SMG and a sniper. But in this current offering right now, it would take roughly $20 to buy the Killzone armor set, banner, emblem, and the weapon in the Superstore. It's roughly just under $20. Now, you can decide whether you think it's worth that, but obviously I'm making this video to let you know that I don't personally think that it's worth $20. Partly because I don't think the weapon is worth $6. But again, this is all personal preference. But it comes back to, are we okay with this? And I think as a community we have to discuss it, which is already happening. But I think we also have to make our voices heard to Arrowhead. And if we're concerned about this, then we need to put it out there. We need to make videos about it. We need to write posts. We need to let them know in Discord. Personally, I am a little concerned about this. I have a pretty good amount of goodwill towards Arrowhead. I think they are a good, I mean, comparatively speaking to the rest of the AAA horde of developers and companies these days, I think Arrowhead is a pretty solid one. I think they've had a pretty good monetization model for Helldivers 2. I don't think it's been anything egregious, certainly not on the level of Call of Duty. But this is a little worrisome for me, mostly just because I have a feeling Sony is involved here, and I think they're testing the waters to see what they can get away with. So this isn't so much that I'm worried about Arrowhead as it is I'm worried about what Sony is going to pull from this, what data they're going to get, and if it's going to encourage them to push Arrowhead to do more bundles like this, which I think are overpriced. Now, it is a crossover thing. Arrowhead has stated that this is kind of a one-time thing. You know, they're doing a crossover, and so it may just be that every crossover bundle they do is a little higher priced. That may just be the sacrifice of it being a crossover. Maybe they'll do a Halo crossover. You know, maybe they'll do a Mass Effect crossover. I don't know. But those being a little higher priced than normal, I think makes sense. The issue where a lot of the community is going to have is going to be when it comes into weapons and armor, and selling those at a higher price than they would be in the Warbond. Specifically weapons, because you get into a sort of, is this pay-to-play territory. And even the armor set that's currently in the store, this is the first time this has happened, to my knowledge, where we have a brand new perk passive that is available outside of a Warbond. In other words, exclusive from a Warbond. You cannot get a perk passive, or you cannot get this perk passive from a Warbond. Usually the new perk passives are introduced with new armor sets in Warbonds, and then they also release different armor sets with that new perk passive in the Superstore. So if you like the new perk that's released in the Warbond, you can go buy another armor set in the Superstore and it has that new perk. This is the first time that we have not had an accompanying Warbond with a Superstore armor set. What makes this a little bit more damning as well is that we know that all of this content was originally planned to be a Warbond. And for whatever reason, it was scrapped or parsed out into what I'm assuming is going to be 2 or 3 separate Superstore bundles. Now, it would make sense if it ends up being 3, because if you consider how all the Warbonds have been laid out pretty much since release, you get 3 pages of content. And so what we have currently is essentially one page of a Warbond in the Superstore. So if I were to guess, I would assume there's going to be 3 rollouts. There's going to be 3 bundles in the store, and this is the first of those 3. So if the first of those 3 bundles is basically $20, logic would conclude here, would sort of assume that the total cost of all 3 is going to be somewhere in the realm of $50 to $60. Now, I don't know if they're all going to be priced the same, but I'm just assuming based on this first one. That to me is scary, that we can sell a 3-page Warbond, rebundle it, repackage it, what would have otherwise been $10 typically, and put it in the store and essentially quadruple, if not whatever the 5th or 6th would be, quintuple, sextuple it, I don't know. But I mean, double on double on double. That's insane. We went from $10 to potentially $50, $60. So anyway, the point of this video is, if you're on the fence, if you feel like you need to buy this weapon, this armor set, because you feel like you're missing out, one, I don't think you're missing out if you don't buy the gun. I think if you feel like this is a principle thing, I think you should stand on it and not buy it. I think you should let Arrowhead know that this is not appropriate. We don't like these prices. If you want to buy it, then buy it. It's a fine weapon. There's nothing amazing about it. There's also nothing terrible about it. It's just okay. It's cool. It's fine. I wouldn't even know if I'd say it was cool. It's cool. It's all right. I guess I mean cool in like a it's okay kind of, But the armor set, I am a little bit concerned about. The armor set has a perk passive that essentially gives you 50% damage resist from pretty much all elemental damage. So fire, gas, shock, electrical. That is worrying to me because, again, that armor passive is not anywhere else in the game. You cannot earn it. It's not currently being handed out during an event or a Warbond. You have to pay money to get that perk. And it's a pretty damn good perk. 50% armor resist to basically all elemental damage would be pretty damn good, especially against bugs. So, this is concerning, but I think we as a community need to make our voices heard if we are concerned with it, which is what I'm doing with this video. And I'm curious to see what you guys think. I want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think about this? Are you not worried about it? Do you not care? Or are you a little bit frustrated with it? I think at the end of the day, I'm fine with Arrowhead monetizing their game as they're continually supporting it. I want more updates like the Illuminate. It's been freaking awesome. Fighting the Illuminate has been everything I've wanted it to be, and knowing the fact that we're only just getting started and they're going to be adding more units. I mean, think about it. We're only fighting like 3 units. There's going to be 4 or 5, potentially 6 Illuminate units. I'm talking like different ranks, different officers, different enemies within their faction. So it's going to get even better, and I want Arrowhead to keep updating the game. More weapons, more customization, more vehicles, more biomes, all this good stuff. We all love Helldivers for a reason. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see an aggressive, in my opinion, potentially egregious monetization model ruin an otherwise outstanding game that I've fallen in love with. I don't want to see Helldivers claimed by that, because there's been so many examples over the past few years and even decades, well, the past decade, where really good games have fallen prey to that, have just been monetized out the ass, and it really alienates a part of their community. And so I don't want to see that happen with Helldivers, and I know a lot of you don't either. So that's it for today. I just wanted to put this out there, a short little discussion about what's taking place in the Superstore. Obviously, it's all over the online space, and the discourse is pretty much entirely consumed with this. That's all anyone's talking about today. But also, just to let you know that I don't think the weapon is anything amazing. I don't think it's worth paying $6. The only reason I bought it was to test it and to make this video, because if it was worth it, I would have told you it was. But I don't think it is. In fact, I'm not sure there's a weapon in the game that is worth the $6 on its own. Maybe one or two, but yeah. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. Let me know what you think down in the comments. How do you feel about all this, this whole situation? No matter what, make your voice heard. You never know who sees videos like this, so just get your voice out there, talk about it, discuss it, whether you like it, whether you don't. It's good feedback for Arrowhead. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Y'all take care. Keep spreading liberty.